Welcome to News for Nerds, everybody. Big headlines today. The biggest one right now is that Hoboken condo median sales prices just crossed $1.1 million. That means half of everything that sold in April was for more than $1 million. This is News for Nerds. It's May 2026. We're taking a look at April stats. I'm Brian McCarthy, and let's get into it, shall we? All right, big themes are hitting today. That condo sales price milestone in Hoboken, Jersey City, kind of define its own mixed stats here. We're going to dive into that a little bit. And then emerging markets are kind of a wave going through West Bergen neighborhood of Jersey City, as well as Journal Square and Greenville. And what the contract volume versus closed sales price gap is actually telling us about the next 60 days. So let's take a little bit higher level overview and look at Hudson County overall real quick. So if you look into the stats that I put out every month, and if you're reading along here with me, you'll see that the sales are down year to date 8% compared to last year, but month to month contracts are up almost 13% at 12.7. So that gap is actually the story. And what it means is that buyers actually came back in April, and we're seeing that gap, and it's actually promising because sales are obviously a lagging indicator. That's everything that went under contract before at the beginning of the year, which is seasonally kind of a slower time, but contracts are coming back in a real way. So contracts are flowing in, and then closings are going to pile up here on the other side, and we're going to see that in the next 30 to 60 days in our next News for Nerds. All right, Hoboken. Like I said, median condo sales price $1.1 million. That's up almost 32%, 31.6% from last month, selling at 101% of the asking price on an average of 21 days. Pretty impressive stats for Hoboken. Single family wise, there's been 5 sales this April compared to 1 last year. So sales volume is up, even as average sale price reflects a mixed price point there. Obviously, that has a big factor of just the properties itself that are selling, but we're just really comparing that to 1 last year. And I will say overall, single family home prices in Hoboken, even though we're not really comparing real data here because it's 5 versus 1, are up. I mean, there's a huge demand for these properties in Hoboken right now. I mean, there always has been, but as I talked about last month, there's just not very many of them overall, and only a handful of those for sale at any given time, and it is a very competitive market. All right, next up, downtown Jersey City, where we're seeing kind of mixed stats on the surface. One of the biggest surprising things there you'll see, which could be concerning, but really isn't once you look at the other stats, is average days on market up 96%. So this time last year, average days on market for condos was 25. This past month in April, we saw an average of 49, which is a pretty huge jump. But if you look underneath that, sales are actually up 13%, and those condos are getting on average 116% of asking price, and that's compared to 100% a year ago. Contracts are also up 22% in volume, and new listings are down just 3%. So even though the stats look mixed on the surface, the activity underneath really says otherwise, and we're seeing a pretty strong market in downtown Jersey City right now, especially for sellers that are out there trying to get their asking price. As long as you price it right, man, you are getting multiple offers and seeing quite a bit more than that. All right, let's take a look at a few of the ancillary markets of the other Jersey City neighborhoods. We're going to kick it off with Journal Square, where the story here for 1 month's worth of data is about the cleanest growth story that you can find for one single month. So condo sales prices are up 44%. Contracts are down. I'm sorry, contract volume is up 62%, and days on market is down 24. So that's a nice, clean increase in demand here overall for a speculative market. I like to see that in Journal Square. West Bergen, the stats here are a little scary if you don't actually read into the data. So you see contracts are up 450%, prices up by 16. But this is really because there's just not a lot of market data to go off of. We're talking about 5 contracts compared to 1 last year for single family houses. And for condos, 6 compared to 1 last year. So that's why we're seeing a big increase here. But overall, just because there's a few more things that have sold, overall average sale price for those condos, for those 4 that closed, $502,000. And the houses, 3 of which that closed last month, the average there is $578,000. Greenville, houses are selling at 119% of asking price, or of those that did sell. Contracts are up 83% and sales are down. But of course, that's a lagging indicator. So this is another market here that didn't see a whole lot of activity in the month of April, but those stats are positive. So those single family houses, there was only 1 sold at $485. And the condos, there were 5 of them that sold with an average price of $413,000, which again is that 21% increase from last year. The Heights, condo listings up. So this is a little cleaner, a lot more data here. Condo listings up 52%, while contracts are a little flat. More supply coming without so much of a jump in demand. So what we are seeing here is average days on market up 14%, which isn't too bad. 37 up to 42 last month. Asking price holding pretty steady. Last year in April it was 100. Last month it's 98%. Average sold price up 3%, so holding very steady. Number of sales up 12% from 25 to 28, and number of new listings actually quite a bit. So that increased 52% from 58 total listings to 88 here last month. That is May News for Nerds wrapping up. So that is all of April's data. A lot happening under the surface, as always, in the markets that you don't always see on the headlines, or if you're just reading the headlines. So as always, thanks for tuning in. If you've got questions on any of this, you know where to find me. And if you want access to these stats, everything that I'm looking at right here in full detail, full living color, and you don't already have it, again, you know where to find me. I'm always happy to share those with all of you for free. Take care, everybody. See you next time.